The New York Islanders losing streak reaches 5 games as they fall to the Carolina Hurricanes. But in this game, the Islanders showed something that really every Islander fan should be aware of. We've got that and a lot more on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you can get new episodes as soon as they drop. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. We have got a lot to discuss on today's show, but first, if there's something Islanders related on your mind, if you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, you can email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever's on your mind. You can also follow the show on X at Locked On Isles, and you can follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all season long, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me for some instant insight and analysis, and it's great to talk Islanders hockey with you, game time or anytime. Different game, same story for the New York Islanders. They fall to the Carolina Hurricanes by a score of 4-1, a game which more or less was decided in the first period. The Islanders played well, I would say, for the first 4 minutes, maybe 5, and then the game just quickly got away from them. And, you had 2 goals in 2 minutes and 5 seconds by Seth Jarvis in the mid to late part of the period, and then the backbreaker, a power play goal by Martin Neckash with 1.1 or 1.2 seconds left in the first period. That made it 3-0. And the second period, all Carolina, especially the first, let's say, 12 minutes or so. The Islanders rallied a little bit, got a goal from Kyle Palmieri in the third period. But I'll really have to say, at no point did I feel that the Islanders were threatening to actually tie this game. And look, the whole team was flat for most of the first period, most of the second period. Late in the second, they woke up, played a little better in the third, but by then the outcome was already determined. And here's the bottom line. I can sit here and talk about what went wrong on one goal or another goal, but, rather than go into the minute details of this game, I think the more important thing is to say this. If you watched this game last night, what you saw illustrated in 60 minutes of hockey is the difference between a Stanley Cup contender and a team that is struggling to either just make or just miss the playoffs. The Carolina Hurricanes were the better team on the ice for about 40 to 45 minutes of this game. And there were times, and I did tweet this out during the game, where, if puck possession was a statistic, the Canes just dominated that, that statistic. The way that they measure it in soccer, if they did that in hockey, you would see Carolina dominated. And at times, what I tweeted out was that it looked like the Hurricanes were a bunch of sixth graders playing keep away from a bunch of first graders. The Islanders could barely get their hands on the puck. They couldn't clear the puck. Look, you compare the following things on these two teams: team speed, accuracy and strategic use of passing, high danger scoring chances, puck possession, winning 50-50 puck battles, the ability to be organized when clearing your own zone. In each of these categories, the Carolina Hurricanes were much better than the New York Islanders. And if you really want to, have a 60-minute illustration of the difference between, an also-ran and a team that has a legitimate chance to win the cup, watch this game. And look, was the first goal allowed by Ilya Sorokin a soft goal? Yeah, it probably was. It went 5-hole. Should not have gone in. It was definitely not what you want to see from your, Vezina finalist goaltender of a year ago. But in the second period, the Islanders were outplayed even more, especially in the first, 13, 14 minutes than they were in the first period. And Sorokin at least kept them in the game. After the game, Patrick Waugh, who clearly is running out of reasons and excuses and things to point to about this team, basically said he was sort of trying to figure out why this team, they're taking long shifts. We need to cut down on the shifts. Then he says, yeah, okay, that's mostly on me. So look for more 30-second shifts rather than 45-second shifts or minute-long shifts. And again, part of the problem with those shifts is you can't clear the puck out of your own zone. So as a result, you end up not being able to get a line change. Overall, the effort, the desperation still not evident for the New York Islanders, and that was certainly frustrating. Yeah, Matt Martin dropped the gloves late in the game with Brendan Lemieux, and pretty even fight, but that was just frustration, boiling over. But the urgency, oh my gosh, if we don't start putting some wins together, we're done for the year. That didn't seem there. Maybe the first couple of minutes, the Islanders looked good for 4 or 5 minutes. J.G. Pageau had a great scoring chance. The Islanders had a second quality scoring chance, but couldn't get a shot away because, let's face it, the Hurricanes defensively were better at positioning and keeping the Islanders on the perimeter than the Islanders tend to be. Now, a couple of quick notes. Pierre Engvall, a last-minute scratch, reported as a healthy scratch by ESPN, but I'm not sure whether or not, the broadcasters in the booth know that for sure, or we're just speculating. But at the last minute, you end up with Hudson Fasching being inserted into the lineup. We will try to follow up and find out what's going on. Robert Bortuzzo still not playing. He and Samuel Bolduc were scratched along with Oliver Wahlstrom. So we still saw Sebastian Aho in the game. He played 20 minutes and was even in this game. So again, to me, the biggest takeaway from this game is how clearly it illustrated the difference between a great team that is a elite cup contender and a team that is struggling to make the playoffs. Oh, and one other thing, and I welcomed this. Islanders wearing their white jerseys in this game at home at UBS Arena. Apparently, because on this road trip, the Toronto Maple Leafs wanted to wear green, so they asked the Hurricanes to wear their black jerseys, and then the Canes asked the Islanders and one other team if they would accommodate them and make it easier on their training crew and equipment guys. So Islanders wearing white at home like they did during the dynasty years. That was about the only resemblance to the dynasty years that we saw. All right, we have got a lot more to discuss on today's show. An Islander, we'll have our hero and go to the game. An Islander from the mid to late 2000s passed away unexpectedly. We'll talk about that. Plus, we have our weekly farm report on all things Bridgeport Islanders. All that and more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. And with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. As you know, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel, Locked On Sports Today. Baseball fans, mark your calendar for March 20th at 7 o'clock Eastern Time for the best MLB season preview coming exclusively to Locked On Sports Today. On March 20th at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, be the first to get local insight from the MLB local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network. Find it on March 20th, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Locked On Sports Today, the 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or on the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Hero and GOAT of the game. Boy, this is a tough one. And I make no, to find a hero of the game, I have to go with Kyle Palmieri for scoring the only goal that the team got. So at least they weren't shut out. Nice goal on a rebound. I'll go there. As far as go to the game, I'm going with Noah Dobson, who has been the hero of the game many times, but he was a -3. That was the worst of any player on the roster last night. And, on a couple of those goals that he was on the ice for, he was either out of position or retreating too much or too passive and didn't pick up his guy. So sorry to say that Noah Dobson will be our GOAT of the game. A couple of little things. Block shots. Who led the Islanders in that category? Surprise. A forward, Matt Martin, with 3 hits. Alexander Romanov leads the team with 4. The giveaways, well, they kept on coming. Bo Horvat led with 3, but Matthew Barzal, Brock Nelson, Casey Cizikas, Mike Riley each had 2 giveaways. That tells you all you need. And remember, giveaways are kind of strange stats in the NHL. They don't, when a player coughs up the puck, you don't always see it reflected in the giveaway column. So, you sort of have to be sort of aware of that. Not a great game for the Islanders. The desperation that we wanted to see just not there enough. And, just a sort of sad moment. Some sad news out of Islanders history. It was announced today that former Islanders winger Chris Simon passed away at the age of 52. Simon just turned 52 at the end of January. Signed with the Isles as a free agent in 2006, 2007, was with the team for 2 seasons. And look, Simon, in his prime, he had a 29-goal season for the Washington Capitals back in 1999-2000. He was predominantly an enforcer, racked up those penalty minutes, more than 200 penalty minutes in 3 NHL seasons. Finished his NHL career with 1,824 penalty minutes in 782 games. But look, scored 144 goals and 305 points. So, like I said, was not without talent. And, the Islanders put out a very nice statement saying he epitomized what it meant to be means to be an Islander. He wore his heart on his sleeve, both on the ice and in the community. And while Chris Simon is mostly remembered for 2 incidents that, were controversial and ended up making him leave the Islanders, got him suspended. I'm not going to go into detail about those. He had a temper. He snapped in those incidences, and it was regrettable, and he served out his suspensions. But the thing about Chris Simon that I will remember, and I was covering the team at the time, and I remember I wanted to interview him, and after a practice, and he stayed after practice, and the other players cleared off the ice, and he was out there with his son, I believe it was, who was maybe 8 or 9 years old, and the way he was teaching his son to skate and the attention that he was paying to him and the detail of that, it was touching. And it's a big contrast to the guy who would lose his temper on the ice and make some mistakes. According to what I've heard, life wasn't easy for Simon after he left the game. He had issues with depression. He had issues with, he ended up declaring bankruptcy because he couldn't work due to some injuries suffered in hockey. Believed he was suffering from CTE, and had depression and anxiety and all kinds of issues. And you just hate to see that. And as much as a lot of people will remember some of the negative things that happened on the ice, to me, I will always remember the way Chris Simon interacted with his son on the ice at the Islanders practice facility that day before I got to interview him. And he didn't just give you pat answers, cliches when you asked him questions. He was thoughtful. He was intelligent. He took the time to give you, an answer to your question. And I always appreciated that. So rest in peace, Chris Simon, leaving us at the far too young age of 52. Sorry to hear about your struggles after hockey, and just really a sad moment. It's very easy at times to get angry at players or frustrated with players, or, saying, this guy's a bum or this guy's whatever. But it is always important in my mind to remember that the guys out there on the ice, while they're entertainers and athletes, they're also people. And the tragedy of Chris Simon's passing is lingering in my mind at this moment. And we wish all his friends and family, I send them my deepest condolences, and just a shame that he passed away so soon. All right, we have got more to get to on today's show. We will have our weekly farm report on all things Bridgeport Islanders, plus our Islanders birthday of the day, a defenseman who played with the Islanders in the late 2010s, early 2020s, and is still active in the NHL. Let's see if you can guess who that is. All that and more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets for your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. They have killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, and their best price guarantee. Plus, my favorite facet of Game Time, you go on the app, You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect before you arrive. And Game Time has deals on tickets, not only right up to the start of the event, but even an hour after it starts. It is the place to find last-minute tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Time now for our weekly farm report as we talk all things Bridgeport Islanders. And well, if you think it's rough here on the island, up in Bridgeport wasn't too much better. A very difficult week for the Bridgeport Islanders. It all started out with 2 road games against the Laval Rocket. And, well, a 5-1 loss back on March 13th got the week started. That was last Wednesday. Julien Gauthier, a power play goal, the only tally for Bridgeport in this game. And again, just not a great performance overall by Bridgeport. And, Ken Appleby, the goalie in this one. 2 days later, a rematch with the Laval Rocket. Ruslan Ishkakov getting the only goal again for the Islanders, but they fall to Laval by a score of 3-1. Robin Salo, Tice Thompson with the assist. Jakub Skarek, 23 saves in a losing effort as Bridgeport drops its second straight of the week. And then on Saturday, the Belleville Senators playing again a road game for the Islanders, and well, this one ends 4-2. Julien Gauthier and Seth Helgeson with the goal. Henrik Tikkanen, 20 saves, but a 0-3-0 start to this 5-game road trip, which will wrap up later this week. So really hopes for a last-minute rush to the playoffs for Bridgeport not looking all that good. Ruslan Ishkakov, 16 goals, still leads the team, although Matt Maggio and William Dufour closing in on him. They each have 13. Ishkakov, 26 assists, leads the team. 42 points, leads the team, although he is a minus 16. Otto Koivula, 30 points. He's next on the team. Brian Pinho and Dennis Chalowski, 25. Robin Salo, 23 right now. So that's what we're looking at as far as the scoring leaders. In goal, Jakub Skarek, 6, 19, and 5 on the season. The goals against average, 3.16, and the save percentage, 889. As far as the standings go, Bridgeport in 8th place in the Atlantic Division. They are 12 points back of Springfield in the race for 7th place, which would get them into the playoffs. Springfield has a game in hand, but again, 12 games left, 12 points back, not looking all that optimistic if you're thinking playoff hockey for the Bridgeport Islanders. The road trip concludes this weekend. 2 games in Charlotte. 2 games. One Friday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time against the Utica Comets. And then Saturday at 7:05 Eastern time, the road trip concludes with a visit to the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. That will wrap up this 5-game road swing, and hopefully the Bridgeport Islanders can put some wins together. Now, they return home the following weekend, so if you want to check out Ruslan Ishkakov, William Dufour, And some of the Matt Maggio, some of the Islanders' future stars. You can buy tickets to see the Bridgeport Islanders, or you could watch any and all of these games, home and road, on AHL TV. Time now for our Islanders' birthday of the day. And, today is the 33rd birthday of former Islanders defenseman and current St. Louis Blues defenseman Nick Leddy, the native of Eden Prairie, Minnesota, 6 foot, 205 pounds, drafted by his hometown team, the Minnesota Wild, in the first round, 16th overall back in 2009. Played at the University of Minnesota, but made his NHL debut with the Chicago Blackhawks before joining the Islanders in 2014, 2015, and immediately gave the Isles some gas. Scored 10 goals that first year and 37 points. His best season of his NHL career offensively, 2016, 2017, 11 goals, 46 points in 81 games, was with the Isles through the 2020-2021 season, then went to Detroit, and now has been with St. Louis since late in the 2021-2022 season. One of his better games as an Islander, February 12th, 2017, in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. The Colorado Avalanche visit Calvin Pickard, the goalie for Colorado, J.F. Berube, the goalie for the Islanders. And in this game, Nick Leddy ties the game at 1 late in the first period. Steven Giunta and Casey Cizikas with the assist. In the second period, the Islanders go up 2-1 on a power play goal by Ryan Strome. Nick Leddy and John Tavares on the assist. And then in the third period, Leddy gets his third point of the game. Also on the power play, he assists on a goal by Anders Lee, Johnny Boychuk, the other helper. Islanders, after giving up the first goal, beat Colorado by a score of 5-1. J.F. Berube, 26 saves. But for our Islanders' birthday of the day, Nick Leddy, a goal, 2 assists. He's a +3. He scored on his only shot, and he was on ice for 20 minutes and 41 seconds. Nick Leddy, a player who a lot of Islander fans were disappointed when they traded him away. He is our Islanders' birthday of the day. I want to remind everyone, by the way, that we're trying to set up a meetup at an Islanders game in April at the UBS Arena of Locked On Islanders listeners and viewers. Check out islandersnightout.wordpress.com for more information if you're interested. And it would be great to get everybody together and to enjoy an Islanders game in person and to meet members of the Locked On Islanders family. So definitely check that out. Thanks again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day, everydayers. Tomorrow on the show, we will have a full preview of the Islanders' next game, which comes up on Thursday in Detroit against the Red Wings. And if the Islanders really want to catch Detroit, this may be one of their last chances. So a very important game coming up, and we'll have a lot more, hopefully some updates on some of the injured players. We'll try to get to the bottom of why the Islanders scratched Pierre Engvall at the last minute last night. Until then, have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.